Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Craig Shoemaker, a seasoned online course business coach who helps experts and creators build profitable, brand-aligned online course companies. Through his coaching framework, Craig guides clients in customer-driven course creation, market validation, unique positioning, and strategic launch execution that stands out even in the most crowded markets. Craig, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro. I appreciate it.
I'm glad you liked it. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me back before you got into this whole space, before you started coaching people on how to build profitable courses. What were you doing beforehand? And then what motivated you to get into this space in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out my career as a software developer. And during that time, I got into the publishing space. So I was publishing magazine articles and then contributing to books, speaking in public and doing that type of situation. And then I had this opportunity to take my teaching skills and start to build online courses. And so the first course I ever built was a software development course based off of web development, and started publishing a number of courses from there. Eventually made my way to a publisher, which is basically like Netflix for web developers. And so people would get a monthly subscription and they would come in and could watch any course that they want.
Okay.
I happen to be in the privileged position of creating basically the fundamentals of web development course. And so anyone who came through that platform for many years would come and watch the courseware that I created. It was really lucrative. And what ended up happening is this company got bought and sold a few different times. And then maybe these authors are making a little more money than we feel comfortable with, and put us in a position where we had to renegotiate all of our contracts. So I was left in a position, I'm like, okay, so do I continue to create more courses and try to make that work with this new royalty model that they're offering? Or can I take what I've learned over the last 15 years of doing online courses and help out others to not only do the same, but even more than what I've been able to accomplish? And so that's when I came to this decision. I was just like, I'm a teacher at heart, and I really spending time and working with people. So I just decided what I'll do is take that experience and that talent that I've developed and help point it towards others.
Yeah, I love that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into your business today. Who would you say is the ideal customer? Can anybody start a course? Do you only focus on specific types of people? Like, who do you truly love to work with?
So the people that I work with are established course creators who have launched
Got it.
a course or two and are in this position to where they're like, they've been figuring out stuff on their own. And the thing about running an online business, often people come at it from the context of a solopreneur, right? And they're usually doing stuff on their own and having to figure out a number of different disciplines in tandem. And so you're put in this position to where you have to work not only effectively, above average in many different facets in order to succeed. And so the people that I work with are usually coming from this kind of a context to where they've established a level of success. They have an audience that they're serving, but they're feeling the pressure of doing everything on their own. Also beginning to realize that there's missed opportunities, there's blind spots, there's things that they don't see that aren't obvious to them that are really stopping them from being able to grow.
And are these courses typically lower ticket, like a couple $100, $20, $1,000? Where do
Yeah.
you see that fall into?
So the courses tend to be within that, in low ticket, high ticket is relative depending on the industry that you're working in.
True.
But they usually tend to be anywhere from the $2,000 to $1,000 range. But then, of course, a big part of my input and how I help people is say, okay, we're looking at the core sale basically as top of funnel. What we want to do is establish those back end sales And so I've just this year have able to work with a couple of my clients in building their high ticket program that
Nice.
comes in after the course sale. And
That,
it's funny because I was just talking to one of my clients yesterday. He just did a pre-launch. He was going to go into his office and spend a week and a half building a new course.
mhm.
I was like, no, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to sell it before you build it, pre-validate the whole idea, and make sure that we can get all this going. And so he was basically going to surprise his audience with a new product, but instead he got paid. He sold out all the spots that he was looking for. So he's earning $15,000 upfront to develop it with them and then market the course after that.
Nice.
And I was talking to him, I was like, you set up your mentorship program, which is this high ticket program, and he did this. I was like, are these, is tapping into this part of your market where people are spending more than just $150 per sale? Is that something you ever would have done a year ago? And he said, no, absolutely not. And so a lot of times there's these opportunities that are just sitting right in front of you and you just have to know how to address it.
I love that. And that's the power of having somebody who's been there, done that
Yeah.
to guide you along the way. I love that. Walk me through, because I'm sure some of the listeners are thinking this. What does it actually look like to work with you? What is the core offer? Because you mentioned that client, you worked together for a year. Walk me through what a typical client engagement looks like.
Yeah. So once we set up the engagement, then it's usually meeting on a fairly regular basis. So it's often once a week for depending how long the engagement is. So I've had some people that it's been a year or longer, and then some people it's like a very concentrated 5 or 6 weeks where we're doing
Mm,
something very specific. One of the first things I always start off with is giving people direction and a framework for talking to their customers. I'm astonished how many course creators don't talk to their customer, not in the way in which I'm guiding them to. So, like, they'll do supports, they'll answer questions, they might do a hot seat or something like that. But most people either don't take the opportunity or don't know how to have really in depth conversations to figure out what was the journey that led you,
mhm,
what was going on in your life at such a time that you decided that you needed XYZ course,
mm,
and take them through this whole process of being able to figure out what are the buying triggers that
yeah,
lead people to want to buy someone's course. And more times than you would think, I've had clients tell me like this was among the most powerful things that they've done because they just don't know how to have those conversations always, and it's very revealing.
1000%. And I think it helps tremendously from a marketer and sales perspective when it comes to the positioning and the messaging. When you could use their own language back to
Absolutely.
it's so
Absolutely.
powerful.
Yeah.
It makes copywriting so much easier. Because if I have
Right.
all of these things in a doc, then it's like anytime I'm sitting down to write something for my audience, it's I'm speaking their words.
Absolutely. It's your copywriting, it's what's going to be in the course, it's revealing either adjacent or the next set of problems that they have that
Mm,
help with product development or even services that you have. There's so much that you can mine from this situation that it's just incredible that people don't have the opportunity to do it always.
yeah, I like that. And I like that you give them a framework to how to have those conversations
Yeah.
in an effective way. Walk me through when it comes to your customer acquisition, your lead generation. So when you're looking to bring on more people into as clients, what do you do from a lead generation perspective, top of funnel perspective?
Two things. First, most all of my clients have been referral.
Wow.
And so my job, my goal is to make sure that person that I'm working with is they're always wanting more. And so either they want it more for themselves or they want it more for someone else. So they get
Mm,
an opportunity to help have that experience. And on top of that, I work with other creators. I have a promotion that's coming out next week where I'm just partnering with other people's lists in order to work with them. But that isn't necessarily just a paid thing. That's based off of an existing client that I had a relationship with that they are able to very clearly and from a very genuine space articulate the fact that, yeah, I worked with Craig and I got this results and this was the type of experience. And I really enjoy and value the referrals as they come in and being able to grow in that way.
Okay. And I also noticed you have a presence on X, a presence on YouTube as well. Do you find that organic is beneficial for you?
So the stuff on X, I've slowed down a lot just
Okay.
because that platform's changed
Yep.
by time. And I know that I've gotten a few, uh, one very solid client and a few leads from my work on X. But really, what I found was more a return on investment for me was to focus on the existing relationships that I had
Mm,
rather than trying to shotgun everything into social media, do the same thing that everyone else is doing type of a situation. And yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff on X for a long time, and I enjoy being able to meet new people and have those conversations and all that. But in terms of top of funnel, that wasn't as effective for me as it was just to really double down on the relationships that I had and try to nurture them and help them grow as much as possible.
got it.
The other thing that's been really effective for me is to basically find my way into someone's funnel and learn, join their program, join their course or whatever. And I was talking to a friend this morning, and I don't think I've ever done this intentionally. It just happens, or it's like I'll take their course or I'll do something within their program. And I just can't help but see if I were you, these are all the things that I would do. And so I'll
Yeah.
build a report and I'll send all that information and I'll just give that to the person. And there's probably been two or three different times where that type of interaction has turned into something very meaningful just
Yeah.
because I'm leading with service first rather than buy my thing.
Yeah. No, 100%. I like that a lot. I remember just a quick anecdotal story. I remember when I was like still in university, I learned SEO, but then I also was getting into like real estate wholesaling and whatnot. And I remember this real estate agent, he wanted me to help him with SEO. And I told him like, hey, I don't really want to do that. Like I want to focus on this thing. But then I put together this 16-page document for him. And I'm like, this is step by step. I literally screenshotted. I'm like, okay, this is where you click on this page. This is what you got to do. And I just presented to that to him in person. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pass, but here's everything that you got to do. Then he went through it. He's just name a price. Like how much? I'm like, okay.
You talked me into it. All right.
Yeah, I love that. I am curious with the referral piece because I talk to hundreds of coaches, consultants, etc. Lead generation is always a big thing that we
Mhm.
talk about. I was talking to a gentleman earlier this week, and he was saying that he gets a lot of referrals and word of mouth, and he loves it. It's the highest like no trust factor, easiest to close, etc. But it's for him, it wasn't always the most predictable or consistent. Just thinking about layering other things on top of that. I'm curious your perspective on that. If you experience the same thing, if not, what do you think you do differently? Walk me through
Oh,
that.
no, I totally experience the same thing. And that's the nature of it. You don't know what sort of conversations are being had at what time. And it's not the type of thing to where if you have a big ad campaign and you can say, okay, I'm based off of X spend, I
Yeah,
know I'm going to get X return on my investment and turn that on and off. And so the other things that I'm looking at doing are doing more affiliate type of
mhm,
deals. So just 2 days ago, I had a conversation with one of my other clients. I was like, okay, I want to build one of my own courses because there's a need that I see. This whole kind of interchange between, like I was saying, course creators and being able to talk to their customers, knowing how to do it right and getting the right value out of it. That's something that I want to build into my own course. So normally I'm in the role as the coach and the advisor, but I know that this is something that I want to provide because I see this as a top of funnel play for me. So
mhm,
I went to one of my clients who has a very well established and well curated audience. And I'm like, look, if I'll teach my clients, you don't build anything until you validate it first, right? Sell before you build. But I wanted to take a step even back from that. And I wanted to validate distribution first. And I was
yeah,
like, okay, this doesn't even exist yet. But if I created XYZ course, would you affiliate with me and we can go in together and have it come to life that way? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So I'm always trying to figure out what's the way that I can use the equity that I have in these relationships in order to facilitate that next arm or that next play in terms of growth. Because, like you said, it's that's the thing that is the hardest to establish, perhaps the most valuable to have.
Yes, 1000%. I'm curious, have you tried paid ads before? Is that something that you thought about? And if you intentionally stay away from it, I'm curious as to why.
I haven't yet, and but I will at some point. I think the way I'll approach it will be instead of like just doing meta ads for a specific avatar, it would be more like sponsoring newsletters that I know my ICP is swimming in those waters because then it's getting even closer. I can have a better understanding and better feeling of who
Got it.
actually I'm reaching at that point.
That is very unique. That has to be the first time out of hundreds of interviews.
Really?
Yeah, somebody says that. That's cool. I'm gonna write that down. When it comes to your goals, your vision, where you want to take your company, paint me that picture of what the next 1, 2 years look like for you. And specifically, what does success look like to you personally and professionally?
So my goal is to earn 500K a year working part-time.
Ooh, I like that.
And what that gives me is the time to be able to serve my church or other people as I would like, as well as being able to be present and available for my kids for the remaining years that they're in school. And that's why I work hard to design the work that I'm doing right now, even in a part time context, so that I can grow it, so that it's not like it takes a ridiculous amount of time to get this rocket off the ground and then I have to figure out how to scale back.
Yeah,
I do that from the beginning. And so that's my ultimate goal.
boom. I love that. What do you feel like you need to put in place to make that happen?
Focusing on only what is important. It's very easy in this world of entrepreneurship, especially online, to get distracted by a lot of different things. And I have many times. But the more experience I get and the more mature I get in growing and running my business, the more I act and facilitate and help others achieve what they want to achieve, the more clearly I'm able to see that what makes the most difference is focusing only on the right thing.
I like that. I was listening to Kevin O'Leary on The Diary of a CEO, one of my favorite podcasts, and he was talking about signal to noise ratio. He was talking about Steve Jobs, and he was
Yeah.
like, Steve Jobs, I forget if he said 90-10 or 80-20, but basically, Jobs is 80-20 or 90-10 signal to noise ratio. And when he was breaking it down, and this really hit me hard, where he's like, Steve was maniacal about the critical tasks that need to get done in the next 18 hours.
Yeah.
So, okay, if I have 24 hours in a day and I'm sleeping six of them because they slept six, and he's okay, I have 18 hours to play with. What are the critical things that are going to move the needle that need to get done today? And that's the only thing I'm going to focus on. And to me, that was very powerful. And I think that builds upon what you're saying is only focus on what's important. What is the signal versus the noise that's drowning out the signal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like I said, there's distractions everywhere. And so it's a daily battle of trying to figure out, okay, what is my ultimate goal? Where am I headed? And what's the highest return on investment in what I have to give that matches my gifts, my strengths, and my existing opportunities. Now that
Mm,
last bit's a little bit tricky because sometimes you need to go beyond what your existing opportunities are and you need to create something new.
mm,
But if you have something that's solid, if you have those relationships that already exist, don't let them flounder.
mm.
Nurture them.
Yeah, that's powerful. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Go to craig.tools/next,
Okay,
and I have an opt-in there for basically how to prepare your newsletter for a launch. But that's my website, and you feel free to reach out to me and contact me, and I'd love to catch up.
awesome. Any final words before we wrap up?
Focus on what's important.
Boom. Craig, thank you so much for your time.
Delighted. Thank you.
Yeah. So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to craig.tools/next, craig.tools/next. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, and you're selling something high ticket, and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts to scale your business, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.